Hello viewers, welcome to Candid Conversations with Ganesh Kuppala on a special episode today because we have a privilege of meeting the Minister, Honorable Nobert Mao from Uganda here at Uganda House today. So I'm shaking a bit, Minister,
No
because
need.
you're one of the biggest profiles on my show. So thank you so much, first of all, for giving this time to us. And on your visit to London, it's amazing to hear from Ugandan minister because most of my audience are British Asians and Indian origin, and also a lot of Africans are of my origins as well. So it's my privilege to sit
Thank
with
you.
you and speak to you today. So to get started with the conversation, Norbert, shall we quickly go through your role? I mean, I know you're a Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs. So what does that mean? Like, what do you do? What's your day-to-day look like?
In my case, it's really double jeopardy. I'm a lawyer
Okay.
and a politician. I studied law and graduated from Uganda. Then I went to Yale University for postgraduate studies. My current role is that of Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs. I oversee the justice, law, and order sector. The Ministry of Justice in Uganda is basically a service ministry.
Okay.
We verify and have to recommend for approval all the contracts. Doesn't matter what it is about. We also draft laws
Okay.
that go into Parliament. The Office of the Attorney General is within my ministry,
Oh, okay.
and it gives legal advice to all government agencies. The Office of the Solicitor General is also within the ministry. We have got the Uganda Law Reform Commission, which can pick up any proposals for changing the law.
All
It is
right.
under my ministry. The Directorate of Public Prosecutions is an allied institution. The Registration Services Bureau, which registers businesses and intellectual property like patents and copyright, is within my ministry. The Uganda Human Rights Commission is within my ministry.
All right.
And all that, including the Electoral Commission, all those are part of the Ministry of Justice outfit.
Wow, that's a long list of activities that you do. I'm sure you must be having a big team dealing with a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, we do. We
Yeah.
do have a big team. The beauty is that it's, in my view, a highly professional team because we have all undergone the same training.
All right.
So our work is pretty predictable.
Okay, brilliant. So you mentioned about constitutional affairs, and you also mentioned about justice, legal aspects, and you also touched upon audit general as well, falls under so on your day-to-day stuff, you also deal with the litigations comes across the international arbitrary as well, or how does that look?
Everybody sues the government, as you know. I think every day there are cases being filed against the government.
Yeah.
Either maybe a military truck has knocked down
Yeah.
a vehicle, or somebody has gotten injured, or somebody has been wrongfully detained, wrongfully arrested. Government is always being sued.
Yeah.
So our lawyers are the lawyers who defend government in court. And also, because the Attorney General is there, and all cases in Uganda are against the Attorney General.
All right.
So we have these teams of lawyers who deal with the civil litigation.
Okay.
But the majority are actually in a directorate we call the Directorate of Legal Advisory Services.
Okay.
We are a kind of legal bureau of standards. We are supposed to ensure that whatever government does is fully compliant with the law.
And so while you deal with this, I think one of the major aspects is the transparency that comes into picture, because you deal with a lot of this international matters, or you also deal with all the internal country level matters. So the accountability, transparency becomes the biggest thing in justice and legal. So how do you make sure that you're promising transparency to your citizens, that whatever is happening in the country in terms of legal systems, how do you kind of better them every time? Like under your ministry, were there any changes into the constitutional things? Have you brought in any milestone achievements, if you have to call it as?
The major milestone that I could claim credit for is mainstreaming alternative dispute resolution.
Wow.
Like all court systems, we have many cases that have taken years without being decided. We have a backlog. So in criminal cases, as Minister of Justice, for the first time, I could say we have more people who are serving their sentences as convicts than those on remand awaiting trial. Previously, we had more people in detention awaiting trial than those who have actually been convicted. And that's because we are now mainstreaming plea bargaining.
Right.
We give people the choice to plead guilty, particularly to minor offenses, so that they can be sentenced quickly.
Yeah.
And if they have already spent a number of months or even years in detention awaiting trial, then they just go home. Another thing we have done is dealing with the convicts or those on remand who have mental health issues.
Right.
In Uganda, it's the duty of the minister to ensure that they are taken away from the prisons and taken to health facilities.
Right.
Out of over 400 who were in detention, we now only have 4 left. So we have basically cleared that. And then now we are mainstreaming alternative dispute resolution. That's mediation and arbitration. We expect that Uganda will be Africa's center of excellence for dealing with disputes outside the court system.
Right.
Incidentally, only 10% of disputes actually end up in court.
Oh, that's
The majority are dealt with, as I would say, the African way.
Yeah.
We like to talk generally as Africans. We like to settle disputes because we know we will always be neighbors. But now we are ensuring that before anything goes to trial, we give a chance to arbitration, conciliation, or mediation. And the courts have accepted that. And very many cases are now being settled through alternative dispute resolution. As a result, square miles and square miles of land that was not being used because of disputes and injunctions are now freed for development.
That's amazing.
Also, a lot of money which has been tied up in the commercial courts, because sometimes you have got to deposit money in the courts. So you could say we have been having billions of dollars tied up in the commercial court system. So I have sort of become like the chief plumber of the judicial system and blocking things.
Clearing.
It's not easy,
Yeah.
but things are moving again very quickly. And we have got a very progressive Chief Justice.
Brilliant.
The President of Uganda is very supportive.
Brilliant.
And we have recruited more judges. For the first time, we are going to have 4 circuits of the Court of Appeal.
Wow.
So cases will move faster. We have increased the number of High Court judges to 151 for the whole of Uganda. There is going to be a magistrate in every constituency. So access to justice has been enhanced. And that means that all disputes will be settled faster so that business can keep moving.